So thank you everyone for joining us for today's GSA Fleet desktop workshop on the gsafleet.gov vehicle registration functionality. With that, I'm going to turn things over to Alex Stepanoff.
Thanks, Stacy. All right. Welcome, everybody. Hi, I'm Alex Stepanov, and I'm the communications lead for the GSAfleet.gov project. So welcome to our first desktop workshop as GSAfleet.gov on the vehicle registration functionality. I also have with me Kim Vongsa, who will be doing our demo portion, and Angel Raman, who will be doing our Q&A session or monitoring our Q&A box. And the link to download the presentation is also on this slide as well. So if you need that, it's on both of those slides. Okay, so let's get started. So we've all been talking about the GSAfleet.gov system for a while, and this modernization project that we're doing as GSA Fleet. To the left, you'll see the screenshot of the landing page after you log in for the new system. But the idea is that everything is housed under one place, gsafleet.gov. So it's all one unified system. You've heard us talk about it at FedFleet, at the customer meeting back in August. So just kind of a refresher. It's all going to be all of the things that you use currently for federal fleet management will be housed under gsafleet.gov. That includes a lot of the things that you use currently, FMVRS, which we'll be talking about today, VFE, CAM, and auto choice. And so what does that mean for you on a tangible level? It's gonna, our goal is always to make your job easier. We want to streamline processes where we can, automate, we can, make sure that we're capturing better data so that you are able to do all of the things that you need to do efficiently, and consolidating all of the products that you use listed below: drive-through, CAM, auto choice, FMVRS, VFE, like I mentioned in the other slide as well. One thing to know about that as well is that as we are one system, we'll be having one login through Okta, which is the same thing that you would use to log in to our systems now. So it'll be that same process, and we will be there to guide you through that process and help you create new accounts for the gsafleet.gov system when the time comes. And it will be released incrementally. So here's our estimated completion timeline of the legacy products. So we'll be working on it piece by piece and releasing it as well piece by piece. Decommissioning is going to be taking into consideration, our decommissioning plans are going to be taking into consideration realistic sunsetting dates, and everything will be in a process with lots of support. We'll be working with you to make sure that you have the training that you need and are up to date with our releases. So in the beginning of FY22, winter of FY22, we'll be releasing the FMVRS, which is will be housed in gsafleet.gov. So the new vehicle registration service will be on there at the beginning of FY22, which is what we'll be presenting on today. And in the second quarter, we'll be releasing the federal vehicle standards. Our fourth quarter of FY22, we'll be releasing VFE, CAM, and auto choice. In FY23, we'll be releasing the short-term rental module, the vehicle dispatch and reservation module, Fed FMS, and in the second quarter, auto auctions and parts of drive-through, as well as in the fourth quarter, agency incurred expense, and then the rest of drive-through. So what that means is Since everything is going to be happening incrementally, you won't just be left without a system. Everything is still going to be feeding into the systems that you use currently. So with the vehicle registration service, the data that we currently feed into FedFMS, that will still be happening. So that you'd have nothing to worry about in that end, and you'll just be able to use the new vehicle registration system the same way that you do FMVRS. Okay. So like I mentioned, the vehicle registration functionality is going to have all of the same things that you can do in FMVRS with the new look and feel and under that GSAfleet.gov umbrella. So you'll be able to do your license plate order reconciliation, your vehicle registrations, including OCONUS, updating your records, reporting assets sold or missing, and then downloading and printing your registration and insurance cards. So if you're able to do all of these things that you're able to do in FMVRS, let's take a look at what's new. So we've added some things to make sure that processes are and easier for you to go through in vehicle registration. So we've added automatic VIN validation, USPS address validation, a simplified workflow for vehicle registration, a new vehicle inventory page with filtering capabilities, which will make it easier for you to search for things, and an easier registration card download process. So you'll be able to click and download and print off of that your registration card. Okay, so one of the big things that we've been working on our end is making sure that the data that feeds into the new vehicle registration service is accurate and up to date, so that everything that migrates into the new system works properly. So we have been sending out emails to agency fleet managers to make sure that you're able to update your points of contact, and make sure that any missing points of contact are currently in there, updating your invalid VINs, and then also any missing expiration dates, to keep that accurate. So if you are a fleet manager and an FMVRS user and have not received an email about your data, please email us at fleetsystemsmodernization@gsa.gov. Something else to note is that we are offering one-on-one meetings effort. So if at any point you need help or have questions, you can email the inbox and we can set up a one-on-one meeting and make sure that your questions are answered and that you have the support that you need throughout the cleanup process. Part of that data cleanup process is also user management and registration. So just as we're migrating over the data from FMVRS, we're also migrating over the users that are currently in the system, and the ways in which your agency is set up by office. So part of the email that we sent out also mentions confirming your organizational hierarchy and making sure that the current users that are in there are accurate and valid, and so that way we can have the most accurate flow of data into the new system. So right now we'll be doing the approving on our end for the initial release, but in the future we'll be moving that over to agency customers to approve users and manage access as well. So if you have any questions on that, that is also part of the one-on-one meetings. We're more than happy to meet with you and or answer any questions with regards to the spreadsheets that we sent out, and make sure that you are able to get that in by I believe it was January 7th that we put on that email deadline. All right, so I will hand it off to Vong for the demo.
Okay, thank you for that introduction, Alex. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Vankan Vongsa, and I am the product owner for the VMS, the Vehicle Management Services product. This portion of the presentation, I will demo some cool new features that Alex mentioned earlier. We will take a look at the vehicle inventory page and its design. Then I will walk you through the vehicle registration workflow, demonstrate how to make edits to your registered vehicle, illustrate how to print off a vehicle ID card, and then walk you through the license plate orders page. So let me share my screen here. Can everyone see my screen? Can you give me a nod, Alex? Okay, great, thank you. This is the vehicle inventory page where customers will be able to see a global view of all vehicles that are either leased to your agency or if they are agency owned for which your viewing permissions allow. Users can search by VIN, then apply filters at multiple levels where users can then search by license plate number, the vehicle status, whether your vehicle is a registered or unregistered vehicle, identify the year, make, model, also determine if it's a GSA leased vehicle or an agency-owned vehicle, and also be able to filter by point of contact. The column headers that are labeled on the horizontal axis are sortable from ascending to descending, and vehicle records can expand to reveal at a glance details right on the page by clicking here. This expanded section provides a snapshot of the vehicle details and the point of contact, along with some additional information about the vehicle. This design feature is consistent across gsafleet.gov. Also from the vehicle inventory page, you can initiate the registration process by clicking on the VIN and blue text for any unregistered vehicle. This example here is of an agency-owned VIN ending in 1439, which is currently unregistered. By clicking on the registered vehicle button, the user is guided through the vehicle registration process. 3 simple, easy steps. This page allows the user to clearly know where they are within the registration process. Step-by-step on-screen visuals help reduce confusion and even some training needs. The tool walks the user through each step, which is highlighted in dark blue. This step-by-step on-screen visual is also implemented across gsafleet.gov. Step 1 of the process is when a VIN is entered. This is where GSA's partnership with NHTSA's API service for VIN decoding takes place. The VIN validation helps to streamline and improve the registration process by auto-filling key details as much as possible on your behalf. As you can see here, the year, make, and model are all grayed out, and that's based on what NHTSA provided. Customers can also update information pertaining to the VIN from the drop-down field located here for color and here for field type. Customers can also type in the license plate number they wish to assign to that registered VIN, located here.
Hey, Bong.
Yes.
We have someone who was asking, what do you do about any regular VIN? So not necessarily that 17 characters or something you'd find in NHTSA. What happens in that case?
So for an irregular VIN, you'll receive a message that NHTSA cannot validate that particular VIN, and then a pop-up modal will provide you radio button where you can select that the VIN was actually verified by you, the customer, and then allow you to move to the next step of the process.
Cool, thanks, Vaughn.
You're welcome. So we are going to click on the next button. Okay. Step 2 of the vehicle registration process is selecting your bureau and office information, then adding the 2 points of contact who are responsible for the life cycle of the vehicle. For POC 1, we're going to add Lance by his email address, then clicking on the Add Contact button. The email address for Lance is recognized in gsafleet.gov, so the address information and contact number will display. For POC 2, we're going to add Jean, also by her email address, and then clicking on the Add Contact button. This pop-up modal is an example of when gsafleet.gov does not recognize the email and the user is required to key in the mailing address, telephone number, and save the information. So we're going to save and close. So gsafleet.gov's API will bounce the address you entered with the USPS valid address. If there's a different address, one will be presented to you. You may use the suggested USPS verified address or continue to use what you entered. So for here, we're going to use the verified address from the Postal Service. Click on the Save and Close button. So as you can see here, there are green check marks. Those green check marks indicate that the data has been validated. This partnership with the United States Postal Service API offers real-time address verification for every new address entered into gsafleet.gov. This reduces the amount of invalid addresses in our system going forward. Fleet personnel and our customers will benefit from knowing that address data is reliable and accurate. Again, this feature is implemented across gsafleet.gov. The USPS address validation will serve to support our efforts for mailing paper recall notices to our customers, and the USPS verified address will also be provided to the OEMs. And as you can see, located at the bottom of the screen, if you want to cancel the registration, you may do so by clicking on the cancel registration text. For demo purposes, we'll move forward to the next step. The final step, which is step 3 of the registration process, is to review your vehicle and license plate information before you complete the registration workflow. Here is where you can make any final corrections if needed for any of the 5 identified sections by clicking on the edit buttons located here, 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 or here. Again, for demo purposes, we're going to complete this registration process by clicking on the complete registration button. Once you submit your information, you are going to receive a confirmation that the vehicle was successfully registered. As you can see here, it indicates the vehicle is registered. Vehicle status is active. License plate assignment has taken place. This vehicle registration page also allows you to download the vehicle registration card in 2 places with just one simple click. Here at the top of the screen, or to the right where it's labeled download registration card. Okay, so now your vehicle has been registered and it's being used by your agency. A few weeks have passed and one day the driver reports that the vehicle has been stolen during a mission operation. What next? If this ever happens, stop everything that you're working on and immediately access gsafleet.gov to update the status of your vehicle. Do not wait 5 minutes. Do not wait for the police report. And for demo purposes, we will update the status of this particular registered VIN to missing, or stolen. So as I mentioned earlier, you can make any edits. So we will click on the edit button here. And you get a pop-up modal where you can then change the status of your vehicle from active to missing, stolen. You receive a message stating that you're about to mark this vehicle as missing and that it will unregister the vehicle and place those license plates into missing status. We will click the save and close button. And again, you receive a message saying the vehicle was successfully updated. As you can see here, the vehicle is now unregistered. The vehicle status is missing and stolen. There is no longer license plates assigned to this particular VIN. Now, if you want to view the license plate information, click on this area here, and it takes you to the license plate details page, where both license plate A and B have been marked as missing. Okay. So I want to emphasize the importance of immediately updating your information because the downstream effects have negative impacts to national security and the safety of the law enforcement community. GSAfleet.gov will continue to provide the National Law Enforcement Telecommunication System, also known as inlets, with real-time data on vehicle and license plate information registered in our vehicle registration service, just as legacy FMVRS did. Okay, so now I am going to show you how to mark your vehicle as sold. You've had the vehicle for X number of years. It's no longer part of your vehicle inventory. What do? You locate the registered vehicle. The same workflow is almost the same as the last workflow. Click on the edit button. Pop-up modal, change the status from active to sold. You will get a message stating that you're about to mark this vehicle as sold, and the license plates will be marked as pending destruction. Click the save and close button. And again, message saying that it was successful. As you can see here, the vehicle is now unregistered and the vehicle status has been marked as sold. Now you can click on the license plate information here. It takes you to the license plates details page, where both license plate A and B have been marked as unattached. From this particular page, you can submit these license plates for destruction by clicking here. Next, I would like to highlight the license plate orders page. On this particular page, users will have an interactive and streamlined license plate orders page where all orders reside. We place filters down the left-hand side, very similar to the vehicle inventory page. Users can search by order number, apply filters, look to see which orders are in ship status, also orders that are in receive status. Users can see the ship status of any license plate order the moment GSAfleet.gov receives it from Unicor. Clicking on an order number brings you to a dedicated order details page. This dedicated order details page provides additional information such as the status of the order, the number of plates for that particular order, point of contact, and a list of all the plates within that particular order. Also on this page, you can perform a bulk reconciliation By clicking here on Reconcile License Plate Order, you get a pop-up message indicating that you're about to perform a function to place 96 plates into received status. Click on the license plate reconcile. You receive a message saying that 96 plates have been updated for that particular order. Status has changed from shipped to received. And all plates within that order have been marked as received. So to sum up everything that's been demoed and stated so far, using smart and innovative design techniques and automation, the vehicle registration service has simplified and streamlined the vehicle registration process for agency-owned assets and license plate management wherever possible. With our partnership with other government agencies, GSA has paved the way for agency customers to better manage their agency-owned data. The data that you provide will continue to feed and update FedFMS. Thank you. This concludes my demo of the new vehicle registration service. And now I'd like to turn it back to Alex.
Hey, Bong, or Alex, sorry. Before you move on, we have a couple of questions. People would like to see some things. One is they're interested in seeing the registration card. I don't know if you have that available to show, but that was something they'd like.
We do not have the vehicle registration card, so it's very similar to what is printed out in Legacy FMVRS right now.
Okay, well, thanks for that. There is another question about being able to transfer to a different agency. And I know that that is planned, and we'll put out some information about that. I know that you don't have a screen that shows that. So I just wanted to get that one out there as well. Someone has asked, will it still be possible to change the status to invalid if the record was created by mistake?
We don't have that currently, no.
Okay, so that will be something that we'll have to have a help desk ticket submitted. And that will be good for both customer and GSA because it gets visibility on situations where invalid information has been entered or put into the system, and we'll be able to better identify, methods to reduce the risk of bad data being loaded. So that would be that question. All right, we have a couple more that I haven't had time to read through, so I'll give it back to Alex, and then maybe we can do some more Q&A at the end. Fong, thank you so much for that presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fong. There we go. Okay, so thank you, Vong, for that awesome demo and going through it. So just to reiterate, some of the things that are coming up in FY22 after the vehicle registration service is launched are the federal vehicle standards, the vehicle fleet exchange, customer acquisition module, CAM, and auto choice. Okay, so one of the really important things about this entire project is the fact that we want to make sure the system works best for you. So that means including you guys in the process, making sure that you're involved through user research and testing and getting your feedback as often as possible. So we have a community of practice in order to do that. Where you can sign up using the form that's linked on this slide that you'll be receiving the presentation afterwards as well. So you'll be able to access the form and that'll let you, we have a list of all of the people that have signed up for the community practice, and we reach out to them whenever we need testing for different parts of the system that we're building as we're building them. So our next big thing with the vehicle registration service is to make sure that everything is working the way it should be for you, which means that within the next few weeks, we'll start reaching out to people within the community of practice. So please get involved, fill out the form, and make sure that we are able to get in contact with you throughout the entire project. And that's our presentation, and I'll go back to we can go back to Q&As. But yeah, if you have any suggestions, any feedback, anything that we should take into consideration, or any questions at all, please email fleetsystemsmodernization@gsa.gov at any point. All right. Jess, if you want to read out some more questions, or Jamie or whoever.
I would love to. This is one of my favorite things about hosting these events. Okay, so the first question is, can you print a registration cards for an entire fleet? So bulk registration.
Yes, you can actually print off bulk PDFs. We're in the process of making that happen.
Yay. So that was Dwayne Hawkins who was asking that. So thank you for that question. All right, next it's kind of a complicated one. So if license plate A was lost, stolen, but license, I lost it. But license plate B wasn't. Where did it go? Sorry. Zoom is playing tricks on me. Oh, it looks like Angel answered it. But if I already started. So if license plate B is still attached, does the status for license plate A and B both show lost, stolen? And so Angel has said users will have the ability to show license plate is lost, stolen in the system. I think in this case also, because of that nuance. So if you have one plate stolen, the best practice and what OGP has asked for is that you remove the other license plate, because if Inlets queries our database and finds one of those plates stolen, they have to react that way to any vehicle they would find on the road or parked that has that license plate. They don't know if it's the good car or someone who's taken it. So if you have any plate lost or stolen, you can update one of them to show that, and you should remove that tag from your vehicle registration and replace it as soon as possible.
And Jess, I would like to add, we recommend that you work with Unicor and order a different license plate number.
Yes, thank you. All right, we got another one. When submitting plates for disposal, does one send the request once the plates have been mailed to Unicor or immediately upon disposal of the vehicle?
Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, so when submitting plates for disposal, does one send the request once the plates have been mailed to Unicor or immediately upon disposal of the vehicle? So I think the minute you take a license plate off and you are ready for it to be destroyed, you can use that worksheet that Vong has on the screen and send that immediately. You don't want plates laying around, if that answers that question. Vong, do you want to add anything?
When the license plate is at its end of its life cycle, there is a PDF form that you'll be able to fill out to send that particular license plate back to Unicor. We've asked that you contact Unicor prior to submitting your license plate for that destruction, because Unicor will provide you with a, I believe, a UPS tracking number, so that you can see within the process where that particular license plate is. So yes, there is a PDF that is fillable.
Thanks, Vong. So the next question is, how do you get access to the system, or who has access to the system? So in the last month, this team that has been speaking ahead, or what, Jamie, if you're available, would you mind?
Yeah, so we will be, so right now the system has not gone live yet, and so we will be providing additional instructions for how to access the system when it goes live. Anyone can, so eventually all the agency fleet managers will be able to provide access to their different managers and employees. So anyone can access it as long as your agency manager approves you. If you want to also, if you also want to get access to the system earlier before the go live date to help with testing, please email the Fleet Systems Modernization inbox, and we can provide you access to our what's called one of our staging environments. You can kind of help us test out the site.
Thanks, Jamie. The next question is, what about tags that are sent for destruction? So Vong, can you talk a little bit about how we get data from Unicore about tag destruction?
So Unicore will scan, once Unicore receives that license plate at the factory, they will scan that AB license plate, the barcode indicated at the bottom of the license plate. That particular scanned information will be added to a destruction file. That particular destruction file will be sent to gsafleet.gov. Once we ingest that file, we update the status of that license plate from returned to destroyed.
Thanks, Vong. The next question is, what if I need to access several bureaus at the same time, or separate offices to see my plates? Jamie, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can take that one. So what should happen in that scenario is you can have access to, once again, your fleet manager can provide you access to multiple bureaus in order to manage those plates. You can have access to a variety of bureaus if you need them.
So it'll all be based on your login. And that actually goes into the next question is, will there be a single sign-on functionality between Auto Choice, FMVRS, and FedFMS?
Yeah, so in the current, once we are, eventually this will be all gsafleet.gov, it'll be one sign-in, but essentially each of the current fleet applications and the new gsafleet.gov will be using the same Okta registration. So once you create a registration in the that Okta account you have in the current fleet system, you can use that to sign into all of those systems. When you go to log into the new gsafleet.gov, once you register, you can then kind of migrate that old account over and start using it in the new system.
So we have one question that says, how will this work with our current access?
So it sounds like the question is, how will this work with our current access? It's the same Okta account. So if you have an account right now with Okta and you're signing into our current applications, that account can then be used the new gsafleet.gov. What you'll do is you enter your email address when you go to create a new account in the new system. It's going to then recognize your email as having an old legacy account, and it's going to migrate most of the fields over. You may have to add in some additional new fields in order to create an account in the new gsafleet.gov system.
So essentially, it's like having another, like as if we added another system to GSA Fleet's suite of applications. And then slowly over time, we're going to migrate the functionality from all of the systems you use today into this one place. So hopefully 3 years from now, you have one place to log in, and it will be with that same like validation that you've been using for the last couple of years. The next question is, when will registration open to the new system? So that goes back to what Jamie was saying. We sent out all of the current users to the agency fleet managers to have them validate, who should be seen in there, who should be assigned to what bureaus and offices, et cetera. So that process is happening now in order to facilitate an easy launch. So, come this winter when gsafleet.gov is out there and you go to actually use the system, it will be easy for you, just like adding one more application to Fleet. The next question is, will it be possible to bulk load records into the new system? That's the great thing. Oh, you know what? I just realized. So I took this question to mean with the information that already exists. So everything in FMVRS is being migrated over. And then Vong or Angel, would you mind answering that for in the future? Will there be a way to bulk load vehicles?
We're in discussion about bulk loading at this time.
Okay, so You know, I can say that in the minimal viable product that we put together, that like first iteration, we do not have bulk load. But if that's something our customers need for this to be, you know, peak usefulness, please email us at that account on the screen and we'll get it added to the process. What's the latest on going electric? Ooh, man, I'm gonna dodge that question. There's a lot going on there, and you know, the people on this call are the experts in systems and registration. So I'm sure that as we get information, the GSA fleet leadership are communicating that with you all. But definitely an exciting time to be a fleet manager, and looking forward to seeing how, you know, as the budget is, you know, finalized, what that looks like for us across the board. Will we be able to use the system to capture license plates for ATVs and trailers? So it's the age-old thing. I know Vong can probably like say it in his sleep. If your vehicle is on a road and requires a license, a federal license plate, it belongs in the FMVRS. If it's, you know, not being driven on roads, this is not where you need to put it. Its purpose is for communicating with law enforcement. It is not an inventory management system. Ooh, we've got lots of questions, which I love. I'm so glad. What about a private NGO with a federal ID and credentials? How can we get involved? So we can answer that question offline. This registration is for vehicles that have federal license plates or need to be, you know, tracked in some way for the use of law enforcement. If one plate is lost, missing, or damaged, can we use the printed registration to operate the vehicle while the new plates are being procured/mailed? I don't think that aligns with best practices. I don't know, Vong, do you want to go ahead?
We recommend that you ground that vehicle, order the license plate as soon as possible. It takes approximately about 7 business days to receive that license plate.
Yeah, and I know some offices have an extra set of plates, you know, in storage, locked in a cabinet or safe, in order to reduce the risk of downtime if that's something you can't wait for. Thanks, Vong. Will the new website link be widely shared once the function is released in January? I can promise you it will. Like, we are going to be singing about this through the rooftops. Like, I myself have been working on this for 4 years, and the people on the call have been working on it for years as well. So we're ready for this to be out there and for you guys to use it and for us to migrate over to that. Ovang, I think this one's for you. Do we order license plate renewals for leased vehicles? Currently, the FSR orders our plates.
That is correct. You will work with your FSR for any G tags.
The next question is, does this system replace drive-through.gsa.gov? And the answer is not now, but it will eventually. And we look forward to that day. I would be concerned about replacing auto choice in the 4th quarter. Cheryl, we're with you. Like, we definitely have to take all of our business processes and even the vehicle life cycle and the model year life cycle into account. That chart that showed the different systems is actually more of a record of when we'll be done building the replacement, but we are able to deploy or to release that system functionality whenever is best for our customers in our business. So, you know, we won't be changing, you know, things last minute. It'll probably, like for the auto choice like functionality, happen at the start of a new fiscal year, so that it's kind of a clean break, just like we do with the new contracts being loaded. That would be my guess. So I understand, and thanks for thinking about that. Has the migration to this new system been communicated to agency fleet managers? And so the answer is yes, absolutely. We've sent out, and well, Bill Toth, the director of GSA Fleet, sent out a communication to all fleet managers. We also have reached out to them individually And again, I want to reiterate that we are happy to meet with people or organizations one-on-one in order to facilitate whatever they need in terms of data migration and collection, user profiles, and understanding your agency hierarchy in order to make sure that this is the best possible. Okay, next question. Vong, or actually this might be Jamie. Is the office code expanded to more than 3 characters?
In the new system, we most like, I mean, in the new system, the office code will not matter as much. It's going to be more written in plain language and be a little bit easier to use. You'll just suggest, you'll just click on what your actual office is. We'll just put out the name in the new system.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the topics that we have out there if people are interested in having a one-on-one session with us to work out what's best for your agency. The main goal in this is because you're going to have one login for everything across GSA applications, that we have that function, that flexibility for agencies to, make this usable for you. All right, we got some more questions about license plates. So many times returning plates to Unicor are destroyed or defaced. How will that status be updated? So Vong, do you mind taking that?
I don't understand the question. When it's returned Unicor, how will it be updated? What will it
Yes, I believe
display?
so.
So the status in VMS will be destroyed by vendor.
We've had several tags that have been returned to Unicor a year ago that are still listed as pending destruction rather than destroyed. How do we get this corrected? I've reached out to Unicor on several occasions.
Send an email to the fmbrs@gsa.gov inbox, and Robin Washington can assist you with getting that information updated. She will work with Unicor to determine if that plate was physically destroyed by the factory.
Yeah, and I know it's definitely been a tough year for Unicor with the pandemic within the prison. They've had a lot of shutdowns, and so I know that some of that information has been hard to get, right, Vong?
That's correct.
Is the scan barcode on the license plate be read by universal scanner gun for inventory purposes? Yes, those barcodes are standard. They're printed by 3M and it should be readable for anything. So does the new system allow us to mass update the expiration date?
Fortunately, no.
On another note, there was a CDC data call back in June. What did that entail? I'm not familiar with that data call. Vong, Angel, or Stacy, are you familiar?
Not familiar with that data call.
Well, if you need information about that, if you email us at fleetsystemsmodernization.gov, we can try to get you connected with the right people. Will this communicate with FAST? So no, not at this time. I know that FAST reporting is a very important part of fleet management, and that we want to facilitate that the best we can, especially for our leased customers. But what we're releasing and talking about today is not going to, meet the needs of FAST. That will continue to happen in drive-through and within your own data available. Will the FSR, oh, I lost that one. I think someone answered it. The data cleanup process that's due January 7th, should it be done one vehicle at a time in FMVRS, or can we send you corrected data in Excel and you send this spreadsheet back? So it really does need to be happening within the FMVRS. This is your data. And so GSA Fleet doesn't make edits to this. We're just kind of the stewards and the ability to hold that information for you, and we maintain the ability to communicate with inlets. So we want to make sure we're giving you guys the tools to be successful. Vaughn, do you have anything to add to that?
No, you captured it all. Thanks, Jess.
We have a couple of individual questions that I think we should hit, just one-on-one. I'm looking for more of the group questions. For those of you who might be, one of the few people that actually uses the FMVRS within your agency, the information went to the fleet managers. So, my recommendation would be that I'd reach out to them and get with them to see what they are planning to do with this information. Or if you're worried it went to the wrong person, please email us at fleetsystemsmodernization@gsa.gov and we can try to work that out. Will information in drive-through automatically transfer to the new system? So the functionality of drive-through will eventually be a part of gsafleet.gov. But and if you're referencing like GSA leased vehicles, they will also all automatically be added to this new system on the first launch. If your leased vehicle requires to have a state plate for tracking purposes, is the vehicle only in the system for fast reporting, and does it need to list tags in this system? So fast reporting is an agency responsibility, and we're offering this tool in order to support you and to help you to, get what you need to get done, as long as it, matches or adheres to what is required for vehicle registration with law enforcement. So if adding a state plate to your federal vehicle registration is helpful to you in your process for FAST, then that is an option because it is a field that we have. Hey, Vaughn, would you mind answering a few of these questions? I'm going to start to type some of the more individual ones. Would you mind taking over?
Sure.
Thank you.
So let's see here. Is there a ticket component to the FMVRS? It might be a good, I think that's just a comment. How soon can we start using this new system? Alex, want to take that answer?
Yeah, so the new system is going to be available in the winter of FY22, and we can, like Jamie mentioned earlier, we can give you access to that staging environment before that. Just email us at that same inbox, Fleet Systems Modernization at gsa.gov. But that's when the official or the release is planned for winter of FY22.
Great.
And we'll keep you posted on that go live date and make sure that you're aware.
Thank you, Alex. Next question. I am the fleet manager and I'm looking to add 2 people. What is the process? Jamie, do you want to take that answer?
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time, Vaughn?
I am the fleet manager and I'm looking to add 2 people. What is the process?
If you're looking to add users to gsafleet.gov, you can send us an email to the Fleet Systems Modernization inbox, and we can follow up to make sure that the right people are getting the right information, the right people have access to the site.
Thank you for that answer, Jamie. Question, let's see here. Will fmvrs@gsa.gov email address be disabled? Will there be a help desk phone number or call during working hours for technical assistance?
Yeah, we'll have a tier 1 system in place in the same fashion that we currently have one for the current legacy systems. So we will be providing support to all of our agency customers to make sure that they make sure they can access the system and understand and send us any problems they find.
Thank you for that answer, Jamie. Question, would you be able to print FMVS cards for leased vehicles and update leased vehicles in the system? So I'll take that answer. So you will be able to print lease information, but you will not be able to update lease information in VMS. Moving forward, all updates will continue to take place in legacy FMS, to the FSR. So if you need any type of information, such as the primary point of contact updated, you want to work with your FSR, and that FSR will access our legacy FMS system and update that information there, and it will feed into the VMS system. Okay. I think those are the questions.
I think someone just asked, and I typed an answer, but I think it's good for everyone to hear. So our plates are good for what, 7 years or 8 years?
8 years.
And a lot of our vehicles are, in service, especially the bigger, medium, and heavy vehicles are in service longer than that. And so we're having some discussion within GSA fleet least, at least, on if we want to extend that expiration date to like 10 years potentially. So at the end of the day, that's a decision, I think, for the Office of Government-Wide Policy, for vehicle policy to make that decision. They're the ones who have the agreement with Unicor. But if you have that concern as well, I think reaching out to Pat McConnell and that team would be helpful to get that voice heard, just beyond what we can do. And then, hey, Vong, there was just a recent question, if we could provide the email addresses for people to want to have more information about the pending destruction / destroyed vehicle, license plates.
Sure, that email address is fmbrs@gsa.gov.
So there was another question about a ticket component within the FMVRS, having a way to track driver behavior in order to support agency fleet managers. And I think right now it's small in terms of like what we're putting out there with vehicle registration, but the real goal was that we wanted to get something in your hands so that you could get used to gsafleet.gov, that we could add functionality to it based off of essentially a list of vehicles. And slowly, because we have a single data model, we're going to be able to do a lot of cool things for you as fleet managers and our customers over time. Tracking things like vehicle behavior, especially if you've opted into like the higher tiers of telematics data. There's a lot that can be done, both in our system and in other areas. But I think it's going to be really cool to see over the next 3 years. It might be a little bumpy at first, but getting this functionality added one by one, taking away those legacy systems, and really giving us as federal fleet managers the chance to really work with this like data, improve it, and get some good data-driven decision-making tools for us. So I appreciate this idea that was submitted, and I hope that you all as fleet managers, and you're in the trenches too, please give us your ideas for how we can make this better. And the other thing, especially about driving behavior, like our goal is for you all to be able to fulfill your mission, to operate a vehicle and safely. And so anything that we can do potentially with our system to make that possible, please let us know. All right. Oh, we've been asked about using a sticker for renewal of plates. And again, that's an OGP related question. I wish I could make a decision and that actually work, but I don't have that power. So yeah, but that goes along with the concept of 10-year expiration dates as well. Recall notices going to the primary address. So that, we have not made a decision within our system. We did work on a potential recall tool, but it wasn't necessarily about where the mailing would go. It was more managed within the system. One thing that's nice about what we're putting together for you is that it'll have tasks within it. So as a fleet manager, you could get tasks for when you have a vehicle replacement to review, or when you have a vehicle with a stop drive recall, lots of things all in one place in order to make your life easier. It can show you the history of the task, so you know, like your FSR can comment on it, or your one of your employees can say, "Oh, don't worry about this, I took care of it." You know, it's really going to make your jobs easier and also be a single place for communication moving forward. We're just not quite there yet. We're working on all of that framework, and as we get you guys using the system, we'll be able to make it better and better as we go. And then the last thing, you know, it says that there's some issues getting a hold of our help desk. So, you know, I'll check into that. We did switch phone systems very recently. So if there's a problem there, we'll try to get that resolved. But you should be able to call into that number and get someone on the phone right away. So I'm sorry about that, and we'll definitely look into that. All right, I think all of the questions have been answered or are in the process of being answered. I just want to say, we did get one more. So it's really exciting when we get so much feedback from customers. Just from my perspective, we've been working on this a long time, trying to reach out as we can. But it's really nice to see, you know, all of your participation. And we had 600 plus people on this call, so that's pretty great. FedFMS will get updated and it will be amazing. So did I say FedFMS? That's what I'm talking about. It just, because FedFMS is essentially the sum of all of the fleet management tools that we want to offer, it's going to be towards the end of our modernization, just because that's how it makes sense to build. But you know, we're going to get there, and I'm really excited about that. That's one of the ones I'm most excited about. So yay, as you typed. Cool. Oh, Connie Aaron from OGP was on. So yeah, well, thank you all so much. And special thank you for Jamie, Angel, Vong, and Alex, and Stacy for being our hostess. I just thank you so much for giving our team this time. And yeah, do you guys have any closing remarks? I had no idea we were gonna have this many questions, so I feel like I've been talking forever. All right, I'll give it over to you guys.
Jess, for leading that and making sure that we got all of those questions answered. Thank you everybody for attending, and we hope to be in communication moving forward, and I will pass it back to Stacy for any other technical things that need to be resolved.
Thanks, Alex. I did just want to give a couple plugs to some upcoming sessions we've got and things that aren't even up on the website, because we have lots of desktop workshops in the planning stages. There will be another session on this specific topic in January, in early January. We're just working on getting everything scheduled and lined up, and that'll be added to the website in the near future. We do have, for the leasing customers, the FY22 CAM kickoff. Those sessions are in November. We also are in the final planning of a session that'll be in December on the FY22 vehicle offerings, and that's going to include, you know, good and detailed information on the electric vehicle offerings as well. And there will be a repeat of that session in January as well. So there's lots of things coming up. Hopefully you've bookmarked that website. If not, hopefully the next time you get an invite, you'll go ahead and bookmark it. We do really try to update that website really, really regularly. In the next day or so, it's gonna change. And the session that happened today will pop down underneath the past sessions. The recording won't be available immediately, but once it is, it'll get added to there. So I don't know, I'd say probably every week or two, there's probably some sort of update on that page in one way or another, especially once we get into a mode like this where we're having really regular sessions. So I can't encourage that enough, just to keep it gives you one place to look back at the slides or the recordings or see what's coming up. We do send out invites, but it's always nice to be able to just go to that page and see what's going on. So with that, again, thank you to everybody attended, and thank you to all of our presenters and Jess and Jamie and Angel for helping out with all of the questions. I hope everybody has a great evening and a wonderful rest of the week.